going out live.
All right.
Right. Hello. Going live. My name is Jon Wedger, and this is one of many videos that I've put out, and it really is to sort of highlight the child abuse, stroke child prostitution cover-ups that have been going on for decades in this country, and are still being covered up by the system. Now, I want to start by saying that I've come under a little bit of an attack recently by people getting the hump with me. Oh, thank you, Michael, to me little faggot. Sort of saying I shouldn't be using the term child prostitution. Now, I was in the police, as we know, for many years, and that was a term that was always used. It's in no way reflective of the children. You know, they are and always will be victims in this. And I'm sorry, but it is a word and it is a term I'll continue to use. So if someone does get disgruntled with it, I'm just going to apologise. It's just however I'm terming it. So please don't look at that as a reflection of my attitude towards kids, because I'm doing this so the abuse of children is exposed and hopefully one day will stop. Now, I'm in the north of England, and we're looking over the the Irish Sea there, is it?
River Wye.
The River Wye, where it meets, is it where it meets the Irish Sea, or?
Out there,
yeah,
that way.
Yeah.
That's not ending the Lake District over the bank.
So we're just south of the Lake District, and I'm with Michael Taranga.
Tarraga.
Hi.
Tarraga. It's Michael Tarraga, but Mike Tarraga. And John has just said something. Child prostitution. It's a horrible name, but I was one. And I'm going to tell you how, why. And I hope that somebody hears this and listens, because the authorities most certainly didn't, haven't, and won't.
And Michael's written a book which I've started reading today, and I didn't actually want to stop reading it. It's absolutely riveting, and it's called The Successful Failure, The Life of an Uncouth Lout. There you go. And it's Michael's biography, and it's just absolutely enthralling. So I've got a copy of this, and I no doubt, is this available on Amazon or?
No, I'm going to publish it self-published.
Yeah.
And when I've got some money, I'm going to get more copies done. But I don't sell them. The copies I had done, I asked for donations for a charity that's local. Nothing to do with child sex or anything.
Yeah.
It was a place for kids to go who need 24-hour care. Simple as that. Medical care.
Right. So we're in a lovely, relaxed environment. Michael's giving me a cigarette. I'm gonna have that halfway through, because some of the content is quite harrowing, and I've got a cup of tea here. So we've got our little safety blankets here, Michael. But Michael is a former Foreign Legionnaire, and also in the Merchant Navy, where you attained the rank of, what was it? Something you said?
I made a master.
A master.
And a skipper fishing.
Oh, right, a master mariner.
Yes.
Well, there you go. So, and very interesting career he's had. He's been around the world, and you know, hopefully at the end of it, we'll do a little run through of what you've achieved, and because it's quite outstanding. I'm very impressed.
I don't know about outstanding. It's a life, you know.
Yes, but Mike's a point of reflection. You're terminally ill.
Yep.
And the forecast, as we were discussing earlier before the interview, is not that promising, and this is Mike's chance to get the story out. So we've got to be careful, because we've got a cat here that likes playing with wires. So here we go. So right now, Michael, your life is quite harrowing. You know, your tale. So let's start off in the early days. So just go through about your family dynamics, about your parents, and then sort of what happened were you being placed into care.
Right. My mother was a prostitute. This was the war years, and you have to remember that women had to do what they had to do. And she'd come down from London, from the west coast of Scotland, plying her trade, and she met the old man. My old man, Mario, a guy I never ever met, a Spaniard who'd served in the Foreign Legion, had fought against Franco, and was a refugee in this country on the trot from Franco. I don't think he was the greatest of blokes. A bit of a Lothario, from what I understand, like the women. And my sister was born. She was promptly put into care in 1949 into Shirley Oaks. My twin brother and I followed in 1949, and we were put straight into care. We spent a couple of years in nurseries in London, and then moved to Boreham Wood, to what was laughingly called a family home.
So how old was you at this point?
3 years old, just gone 3.
3 years old.
Yeah.
So
3.5.
you're taken away from your mother and you're placed into care. What part of the world are you originally from?
London.
London. And then they've sent you to Boreham Wood, which is on the outskirts of London.
Yeah, I was born in
Hertfordshire.
Lambeth Hospital.
Right, okay. And do you know who placed you into care, or whose jurisdiction was you under when you went into Lambeth?
The records that I have show that
Boreham Wood.
the old man asked for us to be put into care because he couldn't cope. Mother had taken one look. I think she didn't like the look of what she saw because she probably fucked off, if you pardon the expression.
Well, there was 2 of you.
And left us.
Right.
And we were put straight into care. And it was the LCC, the London County Council at the time.
Right.
I don't know who now, but we're believed to be Lambeth because we were born in Lambeth, went straight from the hospital into care. My sister was already in the care of Lambeth, so it is assumed. And the records will show that although Lambeth say I wasn't one of theirs, my twin brother was. And it seems at odds that they'd split siblings up. And I'm pretty sure, because we were all in the same home, we were all under the care of the one and same authority.
Yeah, and I've just seen the residence order which placed you into care, the signed order, and it cites all of you together. It doesn't split any of you up on it.
No, that's correct. That's...
Right, so let's go back to early memories. So you're still an infant and you're putting into this, what they called like a family-run unit,
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier. And can you just sort of describe what it was? No,
It was like a big family home, 7 kids,
yeah.
and a couple that we called Mummy and Daddy.
Were they all from the care system, the kids?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
And-
every single one of them.
And let's just describe this so-called mummy and daddy.
They were the house mother and house father, and deputies would come in, but they ran the home as parents would run a home.
Right, okay.
You know, it was like living with mum and dad.
Right, okay.
Only normal mums and dads don't sexually abuse you.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the first night is imprinted because I was put in a big sink in the kitchen to be washed and bathed.
Right.
And a finger up the arse. It's the only way I could describe it now.
And who did that?
The house father, Bob.
Oh, right, Bob. Right. So can you just name the 2 people?
Yeah, Bob and Ivy Woods.
Bob and Ivy Woods. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He worked for Handy Page. And she was full-time running the home.
Karen, right.
So he went to work each day, came home each night.
So from day one, their intentions were pretty much made clear.
Yeah, I was, even at that age, I was a loner. My brother was very clingy with my sister,
Right. Okay.
and I wasn't. And so I was a ready target. If I look back and I understand it now, I was a ready target for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was no one that I could ever go to. There was no one who I could ask for a cuddle.
We see this all the time with the kids that were put into care. They picked on the dysfunctional families because no one's coming for them.
Yeah. This went on. I was taken away, and again, it's documented that a welfare officer visited the home, Boreham Wood, and I wasn't there, and it's written in the record that I had been taken away against the wishes of the authority, the express wishes that I was not to be removed from that house without their permission, the authority's permission.
Right.
I'd been taken away because I'd been naughty.
Right.
And actually, I'd been taken away to be naughty, but that's, you know, I could laugh, and people don't believe, but believe you me,
Okay.
every word of what I'm going to tell you is the truth.
So can we go through what sort of went on?
In the sexual way or in the
No,
life?
just in the whole thing. If it all blends in together.
I
you
came
know.
home to find from school, from my brother and sister had gone.
Right.
I didn't know where. They had gone. I never saw them again.
How old were you?
5, 6.
5. Okay.
I can't remember. Because you have to understand, because of the drugs I'm on from illness, the old brain is not
Yeah, that's all right. No.
clicking up as fast as it should.
Mine's like that, and I'm not on any medication.
But they'd gone, and I was absolutely rife.
Right.
I was ready. They were ready. I was ready. And this might sound odd, but as a child, you don't care what anybody's doing to you as long as you're getting cuddles.
Yes, yeah.
And what you think is love. You don't understand that being forced to do things is wrong.
Were they both involved in the
Yes.
sexual abuse?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And I'd be kept back in the house when the other kids went out so that they could do it,
Right.
you know, and was moved around and taken from place to place, auntie to auntie, uncle to uncle, for 2-3 days at a stretch. And
And what would that mean, auntie to uncle?
well,
Was there reasons why you were taken there? That's what I'm sort of getting.
I was being sold
Right.
by hour, by the day,
Yeah.
you know, and
Now I fully know what that means, but there'll be a few people
I was
out
being
there.
raped
Yeah.
in every way possible. It's as simple as that. There were days when I couldn't go to school because my back passage was bleeding or I was bruised. So I couldn't go to school. And until I was repaired, I ran away to Borehamwood Police Station in the middle of winter.
Yeah. Can you? I'm reading about that in your book. Can you explain that scenario? What happened? You know?
Yeah, I kind of rebelled. It was after a little session with a guy called Paddy, who we had to call Grandad. And I don't know if he was related to the Woods, but he stayed there
Right.
on times, came and stayed. And I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. But I was told to get the wooden spoon. I was going to get a hiding. And I thought, fuck this.
Why was you going to get hiding? What had happened?
I hadn't satisfied someone.
And this is
Simple as that.
This is Grandad Paddy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I can't remember exactly. Or they might have thought I was lying.
Right.
And the favourite punishment for telling lies or refusing to do things was having the mouth washed out with the old red carbolic soap and getting a sound thrashing with a wooden spoon.
Right.
And I thought, no, I can't be doing this. And I took off, and I was wearing socks, underpants, and a vest.
Right. What time of year was this?
Winter.
In the winter.
And it was 6 in the evening. It was dark.
How old was you, roughly?
6 years old.
6 years old. So, did you know the area that well, or?
I knew where the town was
Right.
of Borehamwood,
Yeah.
the village. And I ran. But I'd gone a wrong way because I ended up in Radlett. Radlett was a little village just outside of
It's
Borehamwood.
still a fair distance.
I'd run there, and a milkman who, it was a Friday, because he was picking up the milk money from the houses, as they used to do.
They used to do the milk
In the evenings.
Yeah, I remember it.
And he took me to the police station.
So you're in your pants.
In my pants.
In the middle of winter, freezing cold.
Yep.
You've just been sexually abused.
Yep.
And beaten.
No, I ran before I got beaten.
Right. Okay. And so the threat of a beating.
Yep.
That spurred you to run off,
Yep.
and then you're late in the evening and you've gone from one town to another. Let's get it right. You've run from one town
villages
to
as
another
they were,
village, yeah. And if anyone wants to look on the map, they're a train stop away, and you've been picked up by a milkman.
Yeah.
And
who took me to Borehamwood Police Station.
yeah.
And I told the officer on the desk
Could you just move forward slightly a little bit? Let's get your face in there. That's it.
that
Lovely.
I was being hurt. I was hurting.
Right.
And I told them where I lived. I said, I live at Graveney Avenue, and they knew Graveney Avenue, the home. They rang them up. Bob and Ivy Woods came down to pick me up, where the police told them that I was in need of discipline. So I got a bloody good thrashing anyway. Made no.
And this is one of the things that I found was that these children's homes are known to.
Just going to get my coffee.
Yeah. Just going to get his coffee. But and it dovetails in with so much that I uncovered when I was especially looking at the children's homes in Haringey. The police were fully aware of what was going on. These kids were regular missing persons, and they would just be returned, and no one would ever debrief the kids. And not only that, if we look at what Michael said, we just to recap, taken away from the family environment. Okay, there was problems at home, so went into care. He had a twin brother, so if I'm a twin, so if you break that bond, that's a very strong bond to break. And then placed into a so-called loving environment, but from the moment he gets there, he's sexually abused. He's what they call digitally penetrated. And then we're talking about the couple that are being paid by the authority to give him a loving and caring environment are pimping him out, and to such a degree that he's physically hurt and unable to go to school. And we don't need to go into how he was hurt or what part of his body, but we know what was going on. And then he's taken the bold move at the age of 6, half naked, running through the streets through the winter in a village in Hertfordshire, taken to the police, who just return him straight back to the ones that have done it, and with the suggestion that he gets another hiding.
It became a way of life, actually, because if the Woods weren't giving me a whacking, the headmaster of the local school would do it on their behalf. It made no difference. As an only child then, because my siblings had gone, with no one to go to, no one to cry to, I was ripe. I was like a little plum plucked from the bloody tree and ready for skinning. And that's what happened.
And I want to put an appeal out to anyone who is a parent, a loving parent, and anyone who actually has got children of that relevant age. And you see how vulnerable your kids are, how much they need you, how much that if they stay away, they want to be back with you. And let's try and put our mindset. This is something that I did. This is something that angered me so much. I put my mindset, because I had kids at the same age that I was investigating. How would they feel? And when someone said something to me, Mike, and they said, "Are you not frightened?" And I keep saying this, my fear is nothing. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the fear of a child, which is exactly what we're hearing now. So we've established what sort of people Bob and Ivy Woods were, and from without putting any words in anyone's mouth, it seemed to be a well-oiled machine they were running here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They were running a child brothel, in essence.
They were part of a ring.
A ring.
It was incredible, because when I was moved, my behaviour got so bad that I had to be moved.
Right.
And eventually they moved me to the convent run by nuns, right, in London Coney. And I will say that was the only place, the 11 months that I was there, was the only place that I was ever cherished for the right reason. The nuns were fabulous. And the staff were fabulous.
And what a conflicting account, because I hear of kids that have been in, there was a residential care home, a convent run in Mill Hill, where they were saying that it was absolutely appalling what the nuns were doing. And a guy I work with Bill, he turned around and said the nuns were wretched, but you're saying that they were
They
very
were great.
loving.
But the tragedy of it is, I couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it.
Yes, yeah.
I couldn't comprehend why the people were being nice and not wanting anything. And
Right. There's something interesting. James Robertson, and I don't want to cut because this it alludes to what you said to Eric. Right? Did you tell the nuns what happened to you? Now, you told quite a moving story earlier on about what happened recently when you tried to make contact, or a few years back, with one of the nuns that was particularly nice to you.
yeah,
Can you
Sister Helen.
Yeah, can you just tell us about what happened with Sister Helen? Because that was quite a moving account.
I'd been diagnosed with cancer. And I had that thing in my head to see if she was still alive. And I tracked her down to a convent in Oxford. And I spoke to her for the first time I'm 70 now, so it was 60 years. Just short of 60 years. And she told me, when I asked could I speak to her, she came on the phone and she said, "Hello, Peter," because that's what I was known as.
Right.
I'd been waiting over 50 years to speak to you. And she died 3 days later.
Right.
So,
She,
I don't know, it's just...
yeah, and well, for me, I mean, what I'm drawing on that is that she didn't want to go until she had spoke to you. You obviously, she remembers you and left an impact on her.
Yeah.
And likewise, she did with you.
Christ, I've left an impact on a lot of people. God almighty. Some good, some bad, believe you me.
Oh, mate. All right.
And,
So if we move it slightly on now, because...
I was moved.
Yeah.
I couldn't hack it. My behaviour got totally out of order. I was stealing, I was bullying, and I was doing everything wrong, going right against the love that was being given because I didn't know how to accept it.
Yeah.
And I was an intelligent kid. At 11 years old, they put an IQ of something like 114, which is quite high. But I got sent to Liscard Lodge.
Right. And where is Liscard Lodge?
Blackheath.
Right.
Liscard Gardens.
So Blackheath is in South East London.
Yeah.
So that's quite a distance to move you.
Yeah, I was sent there. And, it was rife. It was absolutely rife.
Can you just describe what it was like, what the place looked like, how many kids were there, and
I
what was
can't.
going on?
It was a home. It was an actual home with staff.
Right.
And virtually every child that was there had been sexually abused in one way or another. And the staff would abuse you. Simple as that. And you couldn't say anything because you had no one to go to. It was... it wasn't even a catch-22. Because the only thing you were going to catch was a disease.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And did that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, we're looking at a kids' home that is sanctioned by local authority. There would have been regular missing persons going from there. These allegations would have leaked out to school teachers, maybe to police officers that recovered these kids. You know, it would have happened. Yeah, it continued.
I was then sent to the Hollies. Liscard Lodge was a stopgap.
Yeah. Now the Hollies cropped up a bit.
The Hollies
Yeah.
was what they call a cottage home. It was in Sidcup. It's now the same houses sell for millions that we lived in. And I was put in the all male house, all boy house, where testosterone ruled
Yeah.
the dormitories. It wasn't a case of just the staff attacking you, but they would encourage the boys to do it as well.
Right.
And this went on. I used to run away on a regular basis. And I always used to go to Margate. I don't know why. but it was easy. You get a train straight from Sidcup
it's
to
a
Margate.
straight line.
Just straight on.
Yeah.
And you could get off the train, no money,
Yeah.
obviously. And always used to get captured. And the same member of staff would come out on the train. And the trains in those days were compartment trains.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
So once that train was moving, nobody could get in. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. I'll just give in.
Yeah.
You know, anything for a quiet life and £5. So some people have said to me, but you encouraged it by taking their money, taking their sweets. I'd rather take their money and sweets and get a belt in the jaw, thank you very much, or get hurt.
You were surviving.
You know, I was
You were
doing
surviving.
what kids do.
Yeah.
But because I was disruptive, they would move me
Yeah.
overnight on what we used to call the kids, put you on the ghost train, and you'd end up at another home. I ended up at Shirley Oaks. I ended up at Stanford House. I ended up all over the place, and in every single one was abuse. The Hollies, I'd be taken to the meat rack. Now, the meat rack,
right,
for
let's
those of you
talk
who
about
don't
that, yeah.
know the meat rack, the meat rack was a place in Piccadilly Circus where we used to be taken at night when it was dark, and the bright lights, it was a wondrous place to a kid. But people would come, think of a horse market, because they'd look at you and they'd ask if you were a white chicken or a cooked chicken. We were chickens.
Can you explain that term?
A white chicken was new to the game.
Right, okay.
A black chicken or a cooked chicken was a well-used kid.
Yeah. It was still being termed that when I was on Vice, the chickens and the meat rack.
See, now you're the first person who's ever said that to me.
Yeah, no, it's well established. The police knew what was going on.
Oh, Christ, the times I ended up in Rochester Row is beyond belief.
Yeah, because what you've got, Piccadilly Circus, it was the Wimpy Bar. I think it's
Yeah.
now a Burger King now. It might have changed. But when you said, I know what's going on, but just for those that might be a little bit ignorant to this, because there are a lot of people that do get confused, and it dumbfounds them that this went on. When you say they took us there and we were picked up, staff, right?
From the homes.
How
Or
many-
a member of staff.
How many of you would go, and what age groups were you?
Oh, I'd be taken more often on my own,
Yeah,
and it pre-arranged meetings. The meat rack was the place to meet.
yeah,
That's where you were selected, if you like. And you were told, you say nothing, you go. And then you'd be brought back after you'd been used
yeah.
and brought back. And if someone else wanted you and they had time, they'd take you.
Was it like with the clientele? Was there any sort of pattern to it? Could you put a genre around them, or was it just a mix?
No, it was always what I would have termed as a child wealthy, smelly, old men.
Right, okay. And that seems to be the other pattern.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it crops up.
And it was always in nice, it was never dingy.
And when you say wealthy, what class bracket would you put these people in?
Oh, civil servants, top notch, the bowler hat brigade
Right.
and above. They were judges, they were police officers, they were probation officers.
Yeah, another
They're
consistent.
men of every description, but very, very rarely was it the working class man.
Yeah,
And it was always, almost to a point, married men
yeah, yeah.
or men of good standing.
Yeah, that's the other thing that you hear.
And I don't know, I'm not ashamed to say it became a way of life.
yeah.
You know.
And what about the exchange of money? Who dealt
We
with
never
the money?
saw that.
Never saw that.
No,
Okay.
God, no. We might get half a crown or sweets or, in them days, a hot dog,
Right.
you know, or you might get a glass of beer. You know, it depended how they felt.
And in respect to venues, what would the venues be?
Oh, they were always nice places.
Yeah.
gentlemen's club type places, but probably, well, they were. A lot of them were flats. In Pimlico, where we went,
Right.
it was the Three Aunties, they were called.
Right.
And it was a big,
Right. Now, I knew them as the Three Ugly Sisters. There were 3 blocks of flats in a road called Marsham Street,
I can't remember.
and it was 3. That's what I know. I'm not putting words in your mouth. But
No,
these are
I
3.
can't remember. But I can remember going in many times, but it kind of looked, I won't say a funeral parlour, but it was the old drapes and the green flowers and the vela on the walls and the overstuffed
Were they
settees.
residential places or
Yeah, they were flats.
flats? Right.
Flats. And it was the Three Aunties who had them. They lived one in each.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. And same way. There's a book that's been written called Playland. I don't know if you've read
No,
it.
I haven't.
By Anthony Daly, and it very much to a T describes what was going on. But so, what age did it start filtering out, or did times change for you?
When I went to the nautical school at 14.
Right.
But by then, I'd got wise enough that if I was going to be forced into doing things, then I was going to steal.
Yeah. Right.
And I was going to make my mark. And
We like a fighter.
many a times I did, and many a times I got the shit beaten out of me.
Right. Here's something that I'd like to address. Catherine's put a message up. Did you get any medical care or attention? Were there any times when you actually needed medical assistance because of what was going on?
Numerous times. But when you're in the home, they bring their own doctor in.
Yeah. Right.
You know, let's be right. The Hollies had a hospital on the premises or a sick bay. You were never taken to a hospital because they have to explain.
A matron.
You know, you had a matron. Every home had a matron.
So questions that need to be asked is that, as well as the police officers that would have picked up the runaways, as well as others that would have been made aware, there would have been school teachers that would have been told by a distressed child. What about the staff, the cooks, the matrons? They would have known what was going on. It would have been regular discussion what was going on.
As a child of care, it was a known fact that you were a liar.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to say this and it just slipped out of my head. Exactly what happens, and this is what the legal system still does.
Yes.
Still classes people as liars.
Yes.
Especially if you're stealing, you're a thief, you're
Yep.
a dishonest person. Let's go back. There was an incident that you was telling me about when you was actually being interviewed by a third party away from Bob
It was
and
in
Ivy.
Boreham Wood.
Yeah, and that's quite interesting.
It was a woman. I've got it on record because I have my records or partial records from Lambeth. Wilson's at Boreham Wood. The welfare officers used to come down and make sure that everything was tickety-boo in the house. And sometimes they'd take each child individually. All had different welfare officers. And they would take the child that was under their remit into an office and talk to them and say, look, what do you feel? What is happening? Are you happy? You know, the usual crap. But when I tried to tell them the truth, and it is documented, Ivy Woods had her ear to the door and she burst in and screamed that I was a liar and I was making it up. And Miss Horsley left. The time when she came down, I wasn't there, and the deputy head, Miss House Mother, had said, Bob and Ivy have taken him away for 3 days because he has been naughty. I do not know when he is coming back. Now, I have that in the record here in my home, but it was never, ever followed up. So, you know, you can ask yourself, am I a liar? If you think I'm lying, tell me.
Well,
I don't care.
Well, the next step along is mental health. You know, people
I've
suffer.
nutted off.
Brilliant. But this is what happens. And then, of course, you're discredited for that as well. and the legal system will. It just won't stand by you, and straight away it's all stacked against you. And we really have to wake up to what's going on here. And Mike's he's got through it, but he's terminally ill. But we were discussing another time about how many
Actually,
people.
John, you're wrong.
Put me right.
You never, ever get through it.
Get through it. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right?
Of course, yeah.
I have wrecked 4 marriages.
Yeah.
Just walked away from them. It has caused horrendous
Yeah, I was going to get to that at the end. The after effects of all of this, yeah.
To the other people.
Yeah.
To my ex-wives, partners, etc. Because if you don't tell someone, it will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Pardon the language, but I don't do PC. I speak as I feel, right? And if you hold it in, it will destroy you and others. Seriously. Don't watch this and think, he's just being a melodramatic queen. Because I bloody went on. I'm all man. Right? I hate homosexuals with a vengeance for what happened to me. But I would talk to them. I've got friends who are gay. But I am wary, and I'm 70 years old, and no one, straight, gay, or any other gender, would want to go into this gearbox anymore. It's as simple as that. But it has taken me 60 years plus to try and find peace with this shit. And it's only just coming.
And you said something to me earlier on. You said 10 years ago you would never have come in my house and stop on. It wouldn't have happened.
No.
Yeah.
No. You get a hatred. I went to the police. I had the police come here and interview me. Video it, if you please. And then politely tell me to fuck off. Because they didn't believe it. No matter what they say, they did not believe it. And even though I've got partial records, all right, the records don't say, or he was bummed, or he gave oral sex at this age, at that place, because no council, no care authority in their right mind is going to write that, and no care authority
of course they're not.
Accepts it happened on their watch.
I've had this with the police, and they said, but there's no record of some of my claims. I said, these are discreet corridor conversations. You really think they're going to record minutes of collusion, conspiracy to shut you up? They're not going to do it. But that doesn't negate the fact that it goes on, and how naive of people to think that. But what I was going to say is, how many people that have been through what you've been through have committed suicide, Michael, or have lost their lives through alcohol and drug addictions?
Hey, I was a drug addict. 10 years ago, I was a full-blown drug user. Every drug. I was homeless. And Branny, get off.
We've got a cat that's going to...
Come on.
For the second time, knock the camera off.
And it was only purely by luck that I didn't kill someone and myself. And I was nutted off. Right, for those who don't know what nutted off is, I was put into a psychiatric hospital where I met a fellow patient as mad as myself, and we're together today. We have a lovely home, and you can get through it. And I decided it was time to make a stand and try. I didn't know what to do. I'm not Jon Wedger. I'm not anyone. I'm Mike Tarrager, arse of the parish. But believe you me, if you come through it, if you can get through it, it's great. Because life is great. But 10 years ago, I didn't want to live it. And suicide wasn't just an option. It was a very, very attractive option. And I planned. And if I was going to top myself, believe you me, it was going to be a bloody public statement, i.e., as I told Lambeth, if they didn't start telling me the truth, they were going to have a fireball in their sodding hallway at the council houses. So, you know, I was deadly serious. But that's what drugs and abuse had done. It got me to a stage where I didn't want to exist anymore.
Do you know, they know this. They know that 75 to 8% of prison population come from abused backgrounds. A higher percentage of heroin addicts come from abused backgrounds. They know all this.
But you can't tell a screw, and I've done some sentences, long sentences, short sentences. You cannot tell a prison officer your story. You can't. You have to. You're told to man up all the time. It's in the past. Forget it.
Yeah, they keep saying this. It's in the
but actually,
lessons learned. They say, don't they?
If you've never been given love, and you've only ever experienced abuse, you will not be able to give love, and you will abuse yourself. Other people, be it sexually. I'm not saying that you'll become a nonce, but if you keep bottling it up, it'll come out of you.
Yeah, of course it's going to, isn't it?
In a violent way, and that's what was happening.
There's a lot of wounds there, isn't there?
It was horrible. It wasn't. It was the darkest place. When I was at sea, many times, I used to walk to the arse end of the ship and go, "Shall I?" And it was only because I thought the bloody water would be that cold that I didn't. I know it sounds it sounds mad.
Yeah.
But you get to a state where you do lose your mind.
What Michael said to me, that he was just despairing at the fact that nothing will change. What I'm going to say is, and I'm going to point this to you, Michael. Since I've been watching this screen, and since we've been looking at every single comment. Is it in your favour? Every one of them, how brave you are, what an honourable man, what you do. It's incredible. So people do care.
I'm not brave. I'm fucking far from being honourable. So far you would not believe.
Well.
But I do have a sense of decency in me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? And I honestly felt, when I wrote my book, right, I was once called, and again it's in the records, Sister Helen, whom I loved dearly, and I didn't know until I got this set of family records that she had told a psychiatrist that I was an uncouth lout.
Oh, hence the book. Let's just show this again. And let's try and get Michael to get, if there's anyone who knows a publisher, come on, let's do the guy a favour here. There you go, The Life of an Uncouth Lout. And I think, having been in Michael's company for a couple of hours, I'll agree with that. But
the successful failure was, I was a failure.
No, you've done what you've been in the Foreign Legion.
Nah, that was lunacy. That was as a result of being pissed. But I lost my brother, my twin brother. I never saw him. My sister was murdered. She's dead. My brother was killed in Northern Ireland. Never met them, right? And that is the sexual abuse. I handled that. Whether I handled it the right way or the wrong way, it's neither here nor there. The worst part was never knowing my brother, my twin,
yeah,
or my sister. And I've got a photograph in the book. The only photograph that I have of my brother, and I have to say I was the better looking of the two of us. But I haven't got a photograph of my sister. No one can tell me what happened. Where did she go? Or we know my brother was put to British Farms, but there it stops. And I don't know.
Michael, the other thing we got to look. This is organised criminality.
Oh Christ!
They were making money, and you also go on in your book about on occasions when you're being abused that someone was filming it.
Yes.
So child porn, and it's just absolute madness. And this has been going on. and if it wasn't Michael, there'd be another kid in there.
Oh, there were others.
And there was kids after him.
Yeah.
You know, this pattern keeps emerging. The politicians know about it. They've been told. We've got a very brave Chief Constable called Mike Veal, who's actually put forward the case that Ted Heath was actively involved in it.
Uncle Teddy.
You know, Uncle Teddy. You know, we've heard once before from another victim of the kids' home where he gets mentioned. Funny enough, I was speaking to someone who was asked to write the book, and she couldn't believe that he was involved in it. And I said, well, why would you even know? You're not an 8-year-old boy. Why would it? And it's getting people to accept this went on. There is still this massive willful ignorance and this cognitive dissonance that this went on. And that is one of our biggest enemies, is ignorance. You know, that needs to be, and hopefully these videos will go a long way to doing it. But I'm gonna have the cigarette that Michael kindly gave me now, and hopefully we'll have another cup of tea. But hopefully, this is the first meeting. We've literally done this on the raw. I've heard Michael's testimony shortly on the phone. Come up here. Not that I think you're going to croak it tomorrow, but I mean we're on borrowed time, maybe. In some respect.
I haven't got long, and I asked you to come up because I had a little gut feeling, and I follow my gut, that you might listen.
Yeah.
There were things I heard about you that I didn't like.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't like them either. But...
And the fact that you were ex-filth, I didn't like. But
you want to try working for them.
Sometimes you got to cast everything aside.
Of course, yeah.
And say, I want to tell my story. And I wanted to. I want it to come out.
Yep.
Right? And I don't care if people say, this couldn't have happened.
Oh, no.
How the hell do they know?
Yeah, well, they ain't got a clue.
They weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, no. I don't need counselling or any of that crap. Right? It's too late.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel the pain of being sexually abused physically anymore. But in here, it's there. And there is always the thoughts that because I haven't let go, because I can't let go, because nobody bloody well listens, that I'll wreck the best thing in my life right now. And that's one of the reasons I asked Jon to come up here. Now, I haven't paid him. You know.
I've never had a penny off anyone.
And I can't afford to pay him. And I just want people to understand that this did go on. And it went on a massive, massive scale. Yeah. And these rings of paedophiles, you know, I dislike the word paedophile. It sounds Greek to me. Nonsense is the word I like to use. Yeah. They're linked around Europe, around the country.
I've always said that the biggest secret society is a paedophile. Not the Masons, not the Illuminati, or not any of that nonsense. The biggest secret society, the most dangerous one, the paedophile. And they are connected. And it knows no social boundaries, it knows no religious connotation, nothing. They are what they... And one thing, they do it because they enjoy doing it. And that's it, end of. And it's got to be stopped. But listen, Mark, God bless. Thank you so much for doing
thank
this.
You for coming up.
And we can still see the pains there. But, you know, hopefully, you know, there may be a follow-on if, you know, if things go well. But the message get out. Look at these hits. Forward this on. We've got a campaign of writing to MPs. The Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, he's in charge of London. He needs to be spoken to about this. Forward this on. Forward it on. Let's get the word out there and let's try and save other kids. Let's try and stop other people committing suicide for the pain. Let's put an end to this pain. And only we can do it. I can't do it on my own. You need to do it. All right? And stop all this stupid infighting as well. Let's stop that. Anyone that can take any nastiness from this interview, they need to be written off. We can't be dealing with that. It's absolutely spiteful and evil. Stop it. And God bless you, Michael.
No.
I'm going to fag now. This is how he pays me. It's like prison wage, cigarettes and chocolate. Anyway, God bless. Over and out, and we'll speak.